numbers grow stronger by the day. You no longer have to live in fear. The time has come for benders to experience fear.
Welcome back to Interviewing Voice Actors. Today I'm here with the one and only Megan Hollingshead. If you don't know who she is, she's played Adina in Gurren Lagann, My Valentine from Yu-Gi-Oh!, Rangiku from Bleach, and so many more. Go ahead and say hi.
Hi, how are you?
Oh,
Also, I hear this so much, it's not a problem, but it is pronounced Hollingshead.
oh, okay. Okay, I didn't know. My fault.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it at all. Like I said, 50% of the people say it differently. So,
Oh, okay. My fault. But let's start this off. What got you into voice acting to begin with? Like just
oh, yeah. So, theater, really.
okay.
I uh I fell in love with theater. I actually moved to New York to be a part of that world. Um, and did a did a bunch of theater for like no money. You know, a lot of actors in New York, we do free shows for the experience, um for getting our name out there.
Yeah.
And the awesome thing, I always say this about acting, um, is the community. You know,
Yeah.
you can't help but meet people, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a group of actors, there's a director, there's a stage manager, like there's a whole crew. Like it's a really nice social life,
Yeah.
which is part of why I do it. Um, but so you meet a community, you know,
Oh yeah.
the sort of cynical way to say it is, well, it's not even cynical, but networking kind of can have a bad connotation.
Yeah.
In fact, it's hanging out with your friends. So one of those friends is a stage manager that I became friends with. And she was the one who said, "Hey, my boyfriend is casting a weird Japanese cartoon," is how she put it. And I was like, that sounds amazing. Count me in. I didn't know anything about anime at the
Yeah.
time. Um, I did recognize when I saw the characters in Pokemon that they bore a resemblance to Speed Racer, which I had watched as
Mm,
a kid. And I was like, oh, there's something going on here. And yeah, that first audition for the weird Japanese cartoon was Pokemon. And I was thrilled to get the part of Nurse Joy. And the
mhm.
director said, he said, it's not one of the leads, but she is a nurse. She's really sweet. And I'm pretty sure she keeps coming back. And I was like,
Yeah.
great, I'll take a recurring role. I'll take that. And yeah, that's when the voiceover bug bit me. I totally fell in love.
Oh yeah, most definitely. What
Yeah.
what challenges have you faced in your voice acting career, and how did you overcome them?
Wow, that's a great question. I mean, the biggest challenge is finding work. Wait, there's
Okay.
two big challenges. One is insecurity,
Oh yeah.
and two is finding work. So on the business side of show business, um, you know, just to be totally clear, like in dubbing, it it doesn't pay much, you
Yeah.
know, and so it it's never been like my money job. I always had a
Yeah.
second job. Um, and the marketing and the reaching out to people does not stop if
Oh
you want to
yeah.
work. So like that's half, but that's more than half my business is just what's next, what's next.
Hmm.
So the other half that hopefully some people can relate to, well, I hope no one can relate to it, but I bet you we can, is insecurity, like
Oh yeah.
fear. Fear is fear will stop me in my tracks, you know?
Hmm.
Um, I often, you know, the happiest moment is booking a job,
Yeah.
and then the fear sets in. You know, what if I can't do it? What if I don't sound like what they want? Um, you know, what if I don't have talent and I've never had talent? Like it's just
Yeah.
it does not end. The only thing that does change is consistently knowing how to talk to that fear, you
Yeah.
know? being like, oh, there's that again. Hello, fear. Yeah, I see you. And you just sit right here in the corner. I got to go to work. So yeah, those are, as far as how I deal with those challenges is just, doing my best one day, one job, 1 second at a time.
Yeah.
And I don't always win, I have bad days. I don't always book the job for sure. And some days I feel sorry for myself because I'm so scared and talentless. So it's up and down.
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with the insecurity part. I more or less I got started doing voice acting. I've been doing it for 2 years now,
Nice.
and
Good for you.
I basically landed my first. I basically got casted in my first video game.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you, and I definitely understand that insecurity part so far for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone else knows what they're doing and I don't. Um, yeah. Yeah. I mean, one of the a book that really informed my life, uh, but I've never read, is called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway.
Hmm.
And I saw the cover of it and I just stared at it for a minute and I'm like, I don't think I need to read that. I just need to adopt it,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Uh, has there been times where you had to record from home, like during the times of COVID? And if so, how tough was that?
Yes, in fact, I'm sitting in a booth at home right now.
Okay.
Um, can you hear me clearly, by the way?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Um, I realized I thought my computer was recording, but then I could be wrong. I could be. Did that change at all just now? I just moved my microphone.
Oh no, no, you
Okay,
still
yeah.
sound good.
I am recording through Zoom. Okay, great.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm sitting in my home booth right now. During COVID, I had auditioned from home, but I didn't have a great setup.
Okay.
At least I didn't feel confident with it.
Okay.
And so when COVID hit, I was like, what am I going to do? And they have these portable booths, I think something
Yeah.
blocks and a whisper room, and I couldn't afford to invest in that,
Yeah.
but I just thought I'm going to look on I don't know, either Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, and I just looked up whisper room
Yeah.
or whisper booth, I can't remember, and somebody had hand built a booth and it
Mm.
said to whisper room specs. Um, and they were going to build a bigger one, so they were getting rid of theirs. And so I made my husband get in the car with me, and we went over. It weighs approximately 100 tons. Um, and but it's good. It's good. It doesn't block off out all sound,
Yeah.
but it does a pretty good job.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so then I got comfortable working at home, as comfortable as I can be. And my husband got offered a job in Nashville. And so I said, well, I guess I work from home now. Like, what the heck? Let's go to Nashville. So I pretty much always work out of home.
Okay.
Um, but I really miss going into a studio. I
Oh yeah.
miss the social aspect.
Yeah. For you personally, what do you think can make a role challenging?
Oh, that's so good. There's a lot of things like well, screaming. That's kind of the obvious one.
Yeah.
Like that is a challenge for sure. Um just thinking back, one of my most challenging roles was doing Shizune in Shippuden.
Oh really?
Because she became more real.
Okay.
So I had to really call on my acting chops uh to get to the emotion of each scene,
Yeah.
to not not play it in comically, but really to embody what's going on in the scene and trust that my voice is enough to um convey that.
Yeah.
Because, uh if you don't if as an actor, if you're not connected in some way to what's going on, um if you can't like visualize or feel it or picture it or think of a similar thing in your own life,
Hmm.
then uh, one thing I do, it's like a crutch, is called phoning it in, where you're just like, oh, the character's angry, so I will yell. And happily, Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, who directed Naruto, she would call me on it. Not like, oh, you're being naughty, but she would say, okay, we need the scene to be much more real. And then
Yeah.
she would describe it again, like with this own passion in her voice, and in a way that where she created a world I could step into and let any fakeness go and
Yeah.
be real. And it's
Mhm.
not that my other roles are fake, it's just that there's so much going on that's more immediate and almost exciting,
Okay.
that it's easier to follow the flow of the river,
Okay.
to just jump in a raft and be like, yeah, let's go. Um, Rather than doing almost like a monologue, doing a scene where I have to be myself.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Of all the roles you've played, what character did you get attached to the most?
Oh, well,
If you had to single out one, if
yeah. I mean, I absolutely loved playing Nurse Joy and My Valentine.
mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize how attached I'd become until I gave up those roles. So, four kids who produce Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and a bunch of other amazing shows,
Yeah.
um, was in New York. So that's where I started working. And I decided it was time for my life to change and for me to move to California, which is where I'm from originally.
Okay.
And so I made the decision to move, and I thought it was probably 50-50 that four kids would let me record from LA. But at the time, it was way harder to work remotely. And so they said no. And that was the moment I realized how much I had grown attached to these characters and I loved them. And I was heartbroken. I
Yeah.
did not want to stop doing them. But I also knew that like four kids was uncertain enough, like you'd get
Yeah.
fired all the time, um, that it wasn't worth me changing my life to
Yeah.
accommodate those two roles.
Yeah.
So as heartbreaking as it was, like I had to make like a business decision.
Hmm. Yeah. I can definitely understand that.
Yeah. And Rangiku too. I really love playing Rangiku. Like she's so much fun.
Yeah.
So, again, you don't know till it's gone, or till it's almost gone. When they announced Thousand Year Blood War, none of us knew
Yeah.
if they were gonna recast or bring us back. Um,
Oh.
yeah. There and the actors are pretty much the last to know.
Yeah.
So, and even when like the leads were announced and they were coming back, I'm like, you know what? It's you don't know till you know.
Yeah.
You know? So, when I finally got booked, I was just elated. So
Yeah.
I guess the answer to your question is I do get attached to almost all my characters.
Yeah.
And I want to do them, and I'm sad when I don't get to.
Believe it or not, I was gonna bring this up at the start of the interview, but two voice actors you worked with, I've actually gotten a chance to interview before.
Oh, you have.
Yes.
Who have you talked to?
So I don't know if you worked with him. I know he was part of the same show. I
Uh-huh.
got my first ever interview was Steve Staley.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I
He's
got.
the nicest guy. So
Yeah.
weirdly, like I'm just getting to know him now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like because I moved to California sort of quote unquote late, like
Okay.
a lot of the California folks already had relationships and I never quite um I don't know, I never quite broke in
Hmm.
socially. Gosh, this is sounding weird. Uh but like so I knew people and I knew the directors and the engineers and um that those amazing folks.
Yeah.
But I didn't have many deep relationships with the actors except the people I knew first from New York.
Okay.
Um but so now a lot of us have the amazing opportunity to travel to conventions and Steve and I had talked because we did a Streamily event, which is where um
Any like
we
live signings?
yeah, so
Yeah.
we go live on Instagram and folks can order autographs and we'll sign them on Instagram and then mail them out. And so we had met on that. We did a Rangiku Hitsugaya sort of combo and and then I just did a convention for NostalgiaCon in Houston and it was the first time we'd actually spent any amount of time, in the same room. So he is such a good guy. I just have nothing but great things to say about him. He is so much positive energy. Um, yeah, so cool. And who else did you get to talk to?
And the other one was actually from Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah, I
Oh,
definitely don't think you two got like a really chance to like talk with each other because
yeah.
he said he was mostly like in and out.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Jonathan Todd Ross, he voiced
I
Merrick.
I do know Jonathan Todd Ross. So,
Okay.
those of us who started at Four Kids, we were just all starting out at the same time and Um, there were like 5 studios in the building, so we were going in and out. And if you didn't know someone, someone else did.
Oh, that's cool.
Um, Again, most recently we got to hang out at a convention.
Oh, that's cool.
Another great guy. How do you get all these great people?
I just happened to be looking him up. I was like, I know this voice, I know the actor, but I couldn't find his social, and then I ended up finding him. I was like, okay, wait, let's see if I can get him on. Then he was like, yeah, I'll be down.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's really cool. Well, I am thank you for putting me with such good company.
Most
That makes me
definitely,
feel
most definitely.
that's very flattering.
Next question is, to you, do you think range and versatility matter when it comes to voice acting?
Wow, you have really good questions. Um,
Thank
when
you.
I started out, I sure did. I even my animation demo now is full of different characters. And I remember when I finally got an agent, Sandy Schnarr with AVO Talent, she told me uh people weren't looking for range. They were looking
Okay.
for who you are.
Mm,
And I didn't believe her for a long time. It's true and it's not true.
okay.
Um, I do think uh it makes it I don't know. There's no one answer. Some casting directors they want to know they can get a certain commodity,
Yeah.
right? If I'm strawberry ice cream and they want strawberry ice cream, they know they can call me. So in that sense, it's like it behooves me to do what I do best,
Okay.
and to really uh fill my demo with that style. And it
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's all one character, but maybe it's my voice range or maybe it's a particular quirk or funny thing that I do.
Yeah.
Um or maybe it's just me doing my best acting. Um and especially in anime, they want to ask you hey, you're in the room, can you do these other 4 characters that
Yeah.
sound nothing like what you were booked for? So, like, in terms of putting together a demo, like, uh, I've not updated my demo in far too long. But were I to do that, I would concentrate on what I do best and then fill in with characters that show range.
Okay.
And I also don't think range is necessarily a deal breaker. You
Okay.
know, if a director hears, or a producer or a casting person hears some good acting, they are gonna send an audition.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna make sure I keep that in the back of my mind. Sometimes I'll be having to keep it in the back of my mind
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I can put forth my best version of myself. So.
Right. Right. And also, like, I got an audition recently, and the producer sent all the characters. You know, they're like, here's
Hmm.
10 characters, male, female. Just pick the ones you're best for.
Yeah.
And my first instinct is read for all the women.
Oh, for sure.
I don't care what age they are. I don't care, blah, blah, blah. So I started doing that. And in fact, I know, I knew from listening that I wasn't, uh, that the younger characters were not my best work.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to throw paint on the wall and see what sticks,
Yeah.
because, you know, casting director has limited resources and time is the biggest.
Yeah.
So I did pick and choose. I was like, okay, she's in my wheelhouse, she's in my wheelhouse. I'm going to send 2 strong auditions
Mm-hmm.
and leave the rest out. Now, the danger with that is that then fear wants to come.
Oh yeah.
And fear is like, do I get a voice? Because I don't think any of these are any good. And, like, so that's a dance that I got to be careful with. As I like to say, when I work from home, I have the meanest director in the business.
I swear, same here. I'll be trying to be pitch perfect.
Yeah, yeah. Don't make any mistakes. Sometimes, you know, those mistakes are where the life really comes out.
Yeah.
Um, one actor told me he always sends his first take
Mm,
because the life comes out. You know, the more takes we do, the more we're overthinking it.
yeah.
So I don't necessarily do that in terms of my first take, but I always go back and listen to that first take and
Oh
see,
yeah.
and just see, like, oh yeah, I had it the first time and I didn't trust it, you know?
Would you identify any voice actors in the industry as role models, and if so, who?
Oh my gosh, so many. Yeah. I Veronica Taylor, who plays
Okay.
Ash Ketchum. Um, I mean, listening to her was how I tried to develop a young boy voice.
Yeah.
I don't have that 10-year-old sound, but I can do a little kid just because I learned it from her. Like, I started playing with different parts of my voice. And I also really learned from her that her inspiration was real kids. You know,
Ah.
she wasn't trying to create a cartoon character. She was listening to real 10-year-old kids
Hmm.
and working with that. And I think it really comes through. That level of understanding and acting chops really comes through. Um, and then from a different point of view, I learned from imitating Rachel Lillis. You
Oh.
know, I heard what she was doing with Jesse, and I was like, oh, that's what they meant in the audition that I wasn't getting. Um, and so I played with imitating her in different roles. Now, imitation can be a real trap.
Oh,
You
for
know,
sure.
no one, if they wanted Rachel Lillis back then, they would have cast Rachel Lillis, right?
Yeah.
Um, so uh so I don't do it too much on a commercial audition. I once imitated Aziz Ansari, um, who's a comedian and from Parks and Rec and all this stuff. And I was
Yeah.
binge watching Parks and Rec at the time. So I did this commercial as Aziz would have done it, and I got booked. And I was
Hey.
terrified they'd find out that all I'd done was imitate someone. I mean, not exclusively. I just used it as a starting point to kind of step into a character.
Yeah.
Um, They didn't. No one's thinking, wow, that female voice sounds so much like, but so, imitation, it has its place. It's certainly not the
Yeah.
only form of work.
when when you were in recording sessions, were you ever comfortable when it came to improvising?
No, I am terrible at improv. I Oh gosh. And I also just have this sense of like, listen, everybody's working really hard here. Don't be the funny person.
Yeah.
Um, but I hear people who are funny in the booth and I'm like, "Oh my God, that's awesome." Um, yeah, and I don't immediately think of funny things, especially when someone's like, give us a little something extra at the end of that line."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What?" And then it's so much pressure and I'm like, "Okay." Um, the only times my improvs have gotten laughs are when I'm like quoting something I heard from someone else,
Yeah.
which is just so sad. Uh, yeah. And I've taken a couple improv classes and had a great time and felt pretty confident,
Yeah.
not the best, but yeah, I did okay. And still, like improvising with voiceover, I don't know what the block is. I probably need to go to a therapist, but it's just that if that's what you're looking for, I'm so sorry, but don't cast me.
Oh man, I definitely understand the improv part. I'm okay with it. Like you can't just throw me on the spot right away. I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
think first.
yeah. I gotta think about my improv, right? Oh man. Oh man.
what what type of voice acting projects do you enjoy working on the most? Animation, commercials, audiobooks, etc.
I actually like all of them.
Okay.
Um, I'm here to work.
Oh yeah.
Um, let's see, I've done a fair amount of commercial work
Mhm.
and I love it. It's fun. You know what it is? It's like each of them comes with their own sort of box,
Yeah.
of limitations. Or, I wouldn't even call them limitations. These are the guidelines. Don't
Yeah.
go out of this. And somehow those guidelines are what allow creativity.
Hmm.
Um, like I can't just go in my booth and be creative, right? I need the walls to show
Yeah.
me, okay, you want to go here but not there. I need that sort of direction. So in anime, my gosh, there's lip flap, there's the
Yeah.
Japanese version, there's actually acting, there's, watch the visual. So there's
Hmm.
so much stimulation and then I have to distill all that and there's no other room for thinking, which is a good thing, right? It's just like the creativity.
Yeah.
Um, in a commercial, there's a little more, excuse me, space in terms of the input. I'm not watching visual. I'm not trying to match something else,
Yeah.
but it's usually a much tighter range of what they want. They want this type of vibe and I got to stay in my lane, you
Yeah.
know? Um, and that's great. I have fun doing that as well.
Okay. Okay. When hold on this. Okay. Now,
Hmm,
how do you personally maintain the health and quality of your voice, especially during demanding projects or demanding moments?
right. Um, water, water, water.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I sound my best when I've done a full warm up. There's times when I'm running and all I can do is a couple like um but when I've really gone through a bunch of warm up steps, I sound better.
Yeah.
The other thing is for me, singing is a great warm up because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a professional singer. I don't sing incredibly well, but I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And for other people it might be different. Singing might not bring like such a sense of ease.
Yeah.
But but for me, just I'm goofy about it, and I don't have to be good at it, and it's fun. Excuse me. So you can tell I'm not taking care of my voice today. It's just fun. So ideally, if I could sing for like half an hour
Hmm.
and then do some more structured warm-ups, including tongue twisters,
Hmm.
then that's when my voice is really warm and really I have a ton of range and I'm ready to go.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What beyond talent do you feel one needs to book work as a voice actor?
Geez, I don't know. If you figure it
Mhm.
out, tell me.
Oh, boy.
Honestly, I don't have a secret to that. I guess it's just audition, 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 you
Yeah.
know. Be in it to win it. Um, I do think positive thinking is part of life, you
Hmm.
know? Um, so maintaining a positive energy is, I mean, it's kind of impossible to do this job without it because you just get sucked down by the rejection.
Oh
It
yeah,
it
for
it
sure.
takes, 100, maybe more auditions to book one.
Hmm.
Sometimes, at least yeah, that's often true. And it's hard to remember that, you know? It's hard to feel rejection
Yeah.
um 100 times, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so positive attitude and just keep auditioning. And you know what else is get feedback on those auditions. Like,
Oh yeah.
and it's hard to find the right people to do that. But especially if I haven't worked in a while, then I might go to a class or, listen to someone else, find some inspiration I hadn't thought of before.
Okay. Of all the voice actors you may have worked with or heard of or have listened to, if you were to make a Mount Rushmore, who would be on that? Who would be on that list?
You know who I put at the top, is Tom Hanks.
Okay,
Uh,
that's valid.
a lot of people in the voiceover community, um, myself included, we're sort of irritated that so many celebrities have gone into this work.
Yeah,
And a lot of times it is stunt casting. They're casting just for the
yeah,
celebrity status. But like Tom Hanks, man, he is amazing.
yeah. He's good.
He's like, oh, is there anything he can't do? Um, so he would definitely be up there. Who else? Oh my gosh. Um,
I love putting people on the spot with this one.
yeah. Uh, I think I'm trying to think of like the actors from the Ghibli films.
Hmm.
Um, that's another place like whoever is casting those dubs is brilliant, because half their job is really good casting.
Yeah.
And again, it's a place where they booked a lot of celebrities, but they're all really, really good. So I'm thinking of Emily Mortimer in Howl's Moving Castle is one of my favorites.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't want to just think about celebrities. Oh, Grey Delisle, of course. Grey
Oh yeah,
Delisle's awesome. And who from anime? That's so hard. Like I know
yeah.
these people and I love them. Oh, I'll go ahead and put Veronica Taylor up there.
That's
I mean,
valid.
she's good.
Hmm. Okay. I was also once told like when dealing with booking and like trying to book work, I was once told if you're just gonna audition, just audition and keep going. Like just put it behind you, and then if you hear about it, you hear about it.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, there's nothing else to do,
Oh
you know.
yeah.
Yeah,
It was-
but you're right, having that attitude of just like, yep, that's over, moving on. Yeah.
For you, which voice acting roles have given you the most professional satisfaction?
I would say um oh gosh, all of them, and I think my Valentine and Rangiku.
Okay.
I felt very after a while. I feel very confident in those roles that I've really helped to shape or at least to honor the roles that were given to me. So I'm very proud of those.
Okay. Now we're down to the last two questions.
Mhm.
The first one is for you personally. How did you feel when Bleach Thousand Year Blood War got announced, and like just coming back in general?
I actually was shocked. It had been
Mhm.
so long that people had been telling me, or saying in general that it was coming. I had stopped hoping for it, you
Yeah.
know? So I was shocked when it got announced, and then I was just nervous because it's all about me.
Yeah.
And I was just nervous, like, do I get to be a part of this?
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty valid because I was so excited when it finally got announced. I was like,
You are,
I was thinking to myself, okay, let's see if they gonna still have the same cast.
yeah,
I'm the whole time I'm over here hoping they still got the same cast.
that's
So,
awesome. That's awesome.
hey,
And then, did you read the manga?
oh yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm not a manga reader. So you have a sense of what's coming.
To some extent, but the author Kubo,
Yeah.
he's been putting like anime only things. So I mean, we don't know what's
Yes.
happening next.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
mean, I'm excited. So
Yeah, me too. Definitely.
and final question, if it's okay with you, could you please give us a couple voice lines from any of your characters?
Your Pokemon will be just fine. The only reason I duel is the thrill of trouncing a worthy opponent. So those are my favorite Nurse Joy and my Valentine lines.
Thank you so much for coming on stream. It was an honor to have you.
Oh, thank you so much. This has been a really fun conversation. I wish you
Okay.
all the best. I'll keep track of your podcast, and yeah, thank you so much for having me.